It were a good turnout, Dad. There was Roger Armitage from pub, Mr. Thornton from next door, he was there. And there was this woman. I didn't recognise her. Sandra Swan from the Polly. She looked more upset than most. Not that you'd talk to me about anything like that. Well, plans are underway for a brand new stadium in Huddersfield town. Word on the street is down in London, they've got a world-class band to open it when it's finished. R.E.M's what the rumour is. It's gonna change the old town! You told me last time I saw you. There'll be new pubs, bars, I said. Maybe you want to come back home. I was gonna tell you, Dad. London's me home now. But you up, eh? You never did get to see stadium finished. You were convinced it were going to propel the Terriers into top-flight football, but your heart gave out before they even started building. Long time coming, doctors said. Last time I saw you, you were struggling for breath and you held me hand. And I was shocked because I couldn't ever remember you doing that. I mean, you must have done, right? When I was a little lad crossing the street, but I can't recall. Strange, innit? What your mind filters out, but it doesn't. Or can't. Never did get that gate fixed. Suddenly, Gravedigger looks at me, smiling. Dark hair, beard, moustache. His face, black and white, grainy like a photograph. Of course. Week 2 of the trial. It's just an episode. I can hear my therapist saying it to me. And Sam, I don't want us to have any secrets. Sam had said that to me when we made our relationship official. We're in some fancy London bar, far cry from Huddersfield. And we held hands under the table. Of course not. I lied. I did try and tell Sam on more than one occasion, but I couldn't. Every time we fucked, I saw their faces. The 5. Ava, Josephine, Barbara, Margaret, Jacqueline. The ones that came after. We stopped having sex. At first, I'd think of excuses, and Sam would ask me if I was alright, caring and patient. But after a while, the lack of intimacy, it became the expectation. And then one day, Sam left. Just like Mum. Since then, there's been nobody intimate.
It seems like sexual intercourse is a major trigger for you. Why don't you tell me about your childhood?
Just like that. It all came flooding back. 1977. I'm helping Dad finish off the last of the Christmas tree decorations when I hear the sound of someone struggling with the gate outside. Dad's preoccupied with tinsel. He doesn't notice me just pop off to have a look. Outside, I can see the paper boy as he's cursing, negotiating the gate. Even though it's dark outside, I can see him. Shane Dillingham. He's in my year at school, same age, 16. And even though it's the middle of winter, he's still wearing his tight green Puma shorts. Finally, he gives up on the gate and he just hurdles it. Perfectly and gracefully, of course. He's in the football team at school and the athletics team. The girls go wild for him. I don't fancy him or anything, it's not like that. I just want to be like him. Shit! I think he saw me. I hear The sound as he posts the paper through the letterbox, and Dad goes off to collect it. I hate Dad. Not long after Mum left us, he moved one of his girlfriends in, Debbie. Lasted a week. You know, he makes out to his mates down the pub that he's some sort of martyr taking on a teenage boy of his own, blaming Mum for leaving us, even though it was his fault. Wanker!
But then crusted out for England manager job again. Idiots. I'll be glad to see the back of 1977.
I smile, but I've no idea what he's talking about. Football, I suppose. I noticed that he's taken Mum's fairy off top of a tree.
We don't want any fairies in this house.
I remember when I was 15, I wrote an essay in school claiming that my dad was the Ripper. Not Jack the Ripper, you understand, no. Yorkshire Ripper. And my English teacher at the time, Mrs. Andrews, she smiled as she gave it back to me and said, "Oh, it's an interesting piece, Jack, though I'll not be showing it to your father at parents' evening." I don't know why she'd really dismissed my claims. After all, this Ripper bloke, he had to be somebody. Not long before Mum left, Dad started working nights at a factory in town, and every night I'd watch him as he struggles with the gates, then walks down the street to catch the 6 o'clock into Huddersfield. There, I'd imagine my dad getting off at the other end, standing in the shadows of some back street with just his cigarette for light, waiting for some young, unsuspecting woman to come by. Slowly, pick up his arm, and then wham! He'd hit her again and again until her lifeless body is slumped in the blood-stained street. Actually, as it turned out, Dad was living a double life, but not as the Ripper. No, he was shagging that bird that worked at the Polly. Mrs. Thornton, next door, she saw them behind the ABC cinema in town and promptly told my mother. So I'm walking down corridors and I hear this voice behind me. There he is, that fucking weirdo. It's Shane Dillingham's voice, and I'm about to turn around when I feel this strong arm grab me.
I saw you staring at me last night. Do you fancy me or something? Are you one of them fucking pufters?
I'm trying to shake my head, but Shane's arm's preventing me.
If I see you looking at me again, I'll break your fucking legs. And one more thing. Tell your dad to fix that fucking gate.
Shane walks off down corridor, and all of a sudden I realise I'm rock hard. Shit, what's wrong with me? I hope Shane didn't feel it when I was pressed up against him. Maybe around the old school. I quickly go to the toilets. Thankfully, they're empty when I get there. I pause for a moment. I ache, I'm so hard. I undo my belt buckle. I try and picture Alison writing my form. Got a picture of Alison. That's what's normal. To want to sleep with Alison. With her perfect breasts. And them long legs coming out from that grey charcoal school skirt. And at the moment I come, it's Shane Dillingham I'm thinking of. I remember when I was 6 years old, Mum told me that Father Christmas was always watching me. He's got a camera in your bedroom, lad. And if you're naughty, he'll not bring you anything for Christmas. But my grandfather, Mum's dad, he went one step further. He said that God is always watching me. And apparently, the penalties for displeasing God are far more severe than them imposed by Santa.
Say your prayers every night, or you'll go to hell.
Mum just shrugged her shoulders. Let's do as he says. It's more safe as that. So I pray. Put my hands together. And I pray that I'm not a puff. Don't let me be like that man in I have been served. I don't even believe in God. But I'm edging my bets. Trying to make a bargain with the Supreme Being. A bargain that involves some sort of personal sacrifice. I'll stop watching Top of the Pops. I'll do the dishes. Christ, I'll even be nice to me dad. Sorry. It's probably blasphemous, isn't it? But you get what I mean. I'd give anything not to be gay. What about spending the rest of your life in Huddersfield? I hear that voice in my head and I think, that's not God. That's myself internalising my worst fear. A life spent amongst the suffocating streets of this shitty northern town, with its proliferation of chemical factories churning out that multicoloured smoke out over Kilmer Bank towards the M62. Hey, you know, Miss Berry from over the road, she got compensation from ICI after she claimed pollution had spotted her white bedsheet's little pink colour when she left in garden to dry. Hush money, she told the old village, ironically. Grandfather used to visit the nights they'd down out drinking with his mates. And despite him being Mum's dad, he still visited us a lot. Have you seen Mum recently? I asked him quietly and he pretended not to hear. Now, I once heard Grandfather say that you work at a marriage. You don't just up and run the second you hit a rocky patch. Mind you, I don't reckon Mum deemed Dad's extramarital shagging a bit of a rocky patch. She went to the supermarket one day, soon after finding out about Dad's indiscretions. She never came back.
Have you got a girlfriend yet?
He always asks me this. I always give him the same answer. I'm still looking. It's the same as when I feign interest in football. Or when I'm with my mates, I wolf whistle at girls from tech college. Because that's what's expected. That's what's normal. 3 days before Christmas, I go and meet my mum at a cafe in Oldham. I hadn't seen her in 6 months. She looks distracted as she just swirls tea around in a mug. I live here now, she says it without looking at me. She looks sad, pale, much older than I remember her. Her dad always said that she had her issues, but whenever I asked him to elaborate, he just said, "Oh, she's fucking mental." She pulls out this W.H. Smith bag and inside it's a wrapped up present. "It's a book," she says to me. I reach into my coat pocket and pull out this little jewellery box. "Earrings," she says. "Aye, dangly ones like you used to wear." I tell her that I got a job at Hillard's warehouse, Saturdays and some evenings. It pays quite well. She just sits silently. And she says, "I had to leave, Jack. It wasn't that. I couldn't." I smile. I'm trying not to cry. "I know, Mum. And then she looks straight at me. Careful, Jack. Some men, they're not all they seem to be. At first, I think she's talking about the Ripper, but she's not talking about him. I didn't know then, but that was the last time I'd seen my mum. So anyway, Christmas has been and gone. I'm in warehouse stacking shelves. You know, Dad's pleased I got a part-time job. You can pay your way, he says to me. You're bloody joking, aren't you? Mind you, it pays more than that paper. I immediately think of Shane.
Yeah, do you fancy getting a drink after work?
It's Mark. He's at the same college as me, Greenheads, but he's 2 years older. He's cool. He's confident. And better yet, he's a fellow Bowie fan. Oh, I don't know. Better not. My dad's waiting up for me. He'd murder me if I were late.
Just tell him you've got to work late.
So I go. We head to the Sportsman. Top at town. Oh, I'll just have a Coke. Mark comes back with 2 beers. I have a sip of mine. Dad don't let me drink. Mark's clearly used to it.
So, what's 1978 got in store for you?
Tech college, maybe. Dad reckons I'd make quite a good electrician.
Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get as far away from Huddersfield as possible. London, maybe. It's all I mean, London. The bars, the music, the gigs, everything. Somewhere I can just be me. Oh, Berlin. You know, like Iggy and
Bowie! We said that together. His eyes had got this bluish colour just like Shane's. We have the most amazing evening. And then the barman shouts out,
Last orders!
Shit! It's nearly 11. I'm going to be late. Don't worry, he says to me. I'll show you shortcuts. It's not too cold. We come out of the pub. Mark's still talking about punk and how it's going to sweep everything else to one side. And then he stops and points off down this side street. That's where the prostitutes hang out down there. All sorts happens down there. And he turns to me. And without taking his eyes off mine, he kisses me. I start to shake. He pulls away. You alright? I try and say something, but the sound is caught in my throat, and then, without even realising what I'm doing, I'm kissing him. I can taste the beer on his breath, and I feel him harden against me. He grabs my arse and he pulls me into him, and then he starts moving down my still trembling body. He kneels on pavement. He puts his hand in my trousers, and then I'm in his mouth. This is it, I think. This is the start of the rest of my life. We stood by railway arches. I see this car pull up. Someone get out. Shit! Do you think they're swords? I don't care, says Mark brazenly, as he puts his hand on me crotch. So Mark goes one way, and I go the other. There's only one street lamp here, and I can see the boot open on the car, and the man's in the timber yard dragging something. It must be heavy because he's hunched over. And as I draw level with the entrance to the yard, I can see him out the corner of my eye. I'm convinced he must have seen us. And he stops for a second and looks at me. In his arms, I can see the body of this woman. Her polo neck sweaters up by her shoulders where she's been dragged. I feel frozen. I can't move. It's him. It's the Ripper. And all I can think of is how smart he looks. Nice jeans, neat dark trim beard. He holds my gaze for a few more seconds and then I walk on. Behind me I hear the sound of the wood being moved. When I get to Leeds Road I stop. I see a police car go by in the opposite direction. It's a routine patrol car and I think I've got to flag it down. Tell them what I've seen, but I stop myself. If I do that, I'd have to explain what I was doing down by the railway arches, who I was with. It'd all come out. My dirty little secret. In that moment I realised I can't tell anybody. My secret is protecting his. Do you remember that Christmas I was back home from uni? 1981 it was. You came and you grabbed me out of bed. Get up, you shouted. They've got him. They've found the bastard. They've caught the Ripper. I didn't know what was going on. It was on the telly. The papers. That same black and white grainy image. All I could think was, it's not even a good likeness of him. Peter William Sutcliffe. Husband. Lorry driver. Serial killer. I saw him dead. I saw him. After I saw him, he killed 5 more. Vera Millward, Josephine Whittaker, Barbara Leach, Margaret Walls, Jacqueline Hill. It was my fault. It's my fault. I wanted to tell you that. I really did. How could I? If you'd found out what I did with Mark. You'd have murdered me.